following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Listening to the Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo, it's Motivational Monday here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. And wow, today's a great show because we're going to feature my book. And before we talk about that, let's bring the Pipe Nuts on. Come on down, Pipe Nuts.
Hola.
Hola. So we have Florida representing, and then another Florida representing, and then Canada. Do you have like?
Yay!
Do we have like? Do we have like sound effects for Canada Studio Net?
Oh, I can see
yeah.
what we have here.
What would that be?
Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong one.
I think that's kind of how. I think that's kind of how Canadians feel right now, though.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's a good representation. Oh, so, I know.
Here's the thing, okay? We're going to talk about my book today because, like, who said life doesn't come with an owner's manual? I remember being a kid, and so my grandmother always used to say, life doesn't come with an owner's manual, and so many people said that in my generation. So I decided, I'm like, well, that's bull crap. I'm going to make one. So I made one, okay? And it's called Who Said Life Doesn't Come with an Owner's Manual. And it is available in a store, and you can get it on Amazon or what have you. But basically, it's this, if you can. Yeah, so I'm all frozen, so you'll see it in a few seconds. Look at that. My video sucks, Juan. Okay. So, yeah, the internet is terrible. Okay, there we go. That's better, Juan. And Juan, you look really good now.
I know it looks like I'm ripped, right?
Yeah.
Totally. I got to tell you about this cover.
Is that the Pipe Man there in the ocean?
Well, that's so funny because so many people through the years have said that. I'm like, no. But I am on the back of the book. I'm on the back.
The back of the bus.
There I am, right there.
Okay.
It's hard to figure out which way to go with the camera.
So
anyway, basically, this is your personal guide to success, freedom, and happiness. Not the freedom they're talking about today. I wrote this long before all this bull crap about I should have the freedom to be a jerk off. I should have the freedom to be nasty to people. I say you should have the freedom to be nice to people, is what I say. Okay? Like, it's just, I don't know. I think the whole world needs to go to a motivational seminar because, they're really following times of Machiavelli and Sun Tzu. Okay? And although The Art of War is one of my favorite books and it's great for business and great for negotiation, some of it doesn't necessarily apply to friendships or people or how you treat people or how people are around the world. And like, I don't know. I don't think it's a coincidence that right now in this period of time in the world that they legalize marijuana and at the same time are taking away some of our freedoms. When I say taking away some of our freedoms, it's the freedom to not be an asshole. That's the freedom, I think.
You know which freedom I want enforced?
What's that?
The fifth.
from everybody.
Everybody
On the face
just
of the earth. Everybody. Like, my
should we,
bro.
hold on. Should we explain this one for our Canadian friend?
I know we don't have that, but
Yeah.
You know what the fifth is?
It means that you have the right to say nothing.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the stupidest thing ever, because like anybody that ever pleads the fifth in a court of law, you already know they're guilty because
No, automatically.
Or it could be that no matter what you say, you're always going to sound guilty, even if you're not.
Yeah.
You know what was interesting
Difficult
is
situations.
I was just watching a mafia documentary, and basically, okay, it talked about how the mafia people put in JFK into as the president, and then basically, I thought about it, and I'm like, it's very interesting. Is it possible that is happening today, but not mafia people?
Yeah, some other behind the scenes organization that's placing people
Or today, or the 2025 version of the mafia, tech giants.
Oh, the Maple Mafia. Have you heard of them?
Are they related to Maple Mandy?
I don't know.
Tell us about the Maple Mafia.
Well, it's this. Apparently, there's like a
they tar and feather you with maple syrup.
It's like a monopoly in the maple syrup world. Like it can get rough and tough, like bourbon and stuff.
Well, here's something I have to say, and I would say it straight to his face. There's somebody that used to work at the station, also had a show at the station, a theater show. I always used to bust his chops because this dude was more into theater than any gay person. I can tell you that. Okay. Like, and one day we were going to cover an event, and he puts on Broadway shows in the car with me. And I just looked at him. I'm like, you don't really drive in the car listening to Broadway shows and sing them. He started singing them with two straight dudes. Don't do that. Okay. And like, I always used to bust his chops, say he wasn't straight, because he would bring his mother to the theater because he didn't have a date too. So I would always bust. We called him the mayor of Pipeland. He would also come on this show as the mayor of Pipeland. Okay. And because I used to make fun of him because he's about the size and has a similar voice to the, we would like to welcome you to Lollipop Land, to Lollipop Land. Yeah. And nothing I haven't said straight to his face in real life or on the radio. Okay. But he texted me yesterday. He was actually near the studio. He was seeing if I was there. He was going to pop by. I should have had him come by so we could see who was taller, him or Juan, just so I could make fun of him. So anyway, because none of us are tall. None of the men at Talk 4 Media are tall.
You should see me on high heels.
I know, right?
Yes, that's what I want to see.
When I meet
the Talk 4
that
Media
are taller than me,
tiptoe.
Yeah, when I would meet women that are taller than me and they're a little weirded out about it, I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm taller than you in high heels.
It's like, it's like I wear the heels in this relationship, okay?
I know, right? So, but seriously, so I don't even know why I was bringing him up.
He texted you the other day.
No, really, I do know why I brought him up. Seriously. So here's something interesting. He is in one of those secret societies. He got in while he was working for the station, and I'm here to tell you it. And he's like now like higher up the ladder in it. If he's representative of these secret societies, none of us have anything to worry about. He's not like tough. He's a Jewish mama's boy, and I could say that. I'm a Jew, so don't any of you people say that now. And but he is a mama's boy. He's a total. What you imagine of a Jewish son, that's him. And kudos to him. He's really nice
Sweet.
to his mother, and he's
Yeah.
really good to his mother. But he doesn't. He's not a dangerous individual.
So we're
Like,
talking like Howard from The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Very similar. Very, very,
Mhm.
very similar. And his mom works right by us in the studio, by the studio there. So like, she does
There
massage
won't be another
therapy.
chance.
She does massage therapy. I'll send her. I'll send you over to her one. I'll send her into the studio while you're doing the show. Make sure the door's locked. She'll come in and start just giving you a massage while you're doing a show, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?" And it'll be Wednesday. So
There you go.
seriously though, he is in one of those secret societies. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say, he's a Mason.
Mm.
And they're the ones that supposedly control the world, is one of those societies that controls the world. I'm like, there's no way, if they're all like him, they're controlling the world. It's just not
There's
happening.
different levels. There's
Everyone
definitely
knows the reptilians are the ones who control the world.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they are. I think
Right.
the reptilians are Masons.
Yeah.
But I did used to give him
Apparently.
crap for it because he's a Jew, and Jews don't become Masons. It's basically a secret Christian society. Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, it's
Right.
not. It's
Exactly what I
not
said to him.
Christian.
No,
You
it's
just have
not.
to believe in a God.
Yeah, I guess so. But-
Juan's done his research.
Doesn't matter which one.
But
Just
most
as long as
Jews-
you believe in a higher being.
But most
can get in.
Jews don't believe in poobahs and hanging out at Elks clubs.
What's a poobah?
It's the grand poobah of the Masons, just like on the Flintstones.
Mm.
It's the leader, the grand poobah. You never watched
Mm.
the Flintstones in Canada, I take it, eh?
Yeah, I just don't remember, I guess.
Like how I add that A1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, the Flintstones. See if you can pull up a scene that we can show Nicole
Like
of
the big
Flint-
kahuna. Like
of
the big
Flintstones, and with Fred becoming the grand poobah or talking to grand poobah or something like that. And I'll talk a little bit more about the book here, because here's the thing. Okay, we just had an episode recently. The road of success is constantly under construction. I used to have a really cool poster that I might even still have in storage, but I think that's where we're at in the world right now. I think we're reconstructing the world is what we're doing. And in any kind of reconstruction, there's a lot of things that happen. Just like, okay, so in order to succeed, you must be willing to fail, and probably will fail plenty of times. People don't just succeed. They fail, then they succeed. Even when it comes to selling customers, do you know that it takes 7 no's to get to a yes? Did you know that, Health Nut?
Well, I know a similar concept, like 7-Eleven, how it got their name.
Oh, yeah,
It's
do
like-
tell, because I was really about to make fun of you when you were comparing it to 7-Eleven. So now I want to hear before I make fun, because it may be a good story.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure
I
it's
mean-
because those are the business hours. They open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
No, come on.
But go
They're
ahead.
known for like
It
the
is
late
kind of
night-
how
the
things
late night
work.
taquitos. You can only get those after 11 p.m.
Well, it is kind of how things work. Okay, Motel 6? That's why they're called Motel 6, because their rooms were originally $6. And then the Super 8, theirs were $8.
Wow.
Now,
Genius.
you can't even get it for $666.
The Motel 8.
All right, so tell
Gosh.
us about the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, no, it's just something similar. Like it takes people an average of 7 times, maybe to 11 times to let something like sink in, or let it become a
I didn't
thing
think
you go
that's
to.
where you
So
were
in-
doing that. Oh, I thought you were like talking about it takes like 7 orgasms until you're done or something. That's where you're going with it, but I like that better. So what does that have to do with 7-Eleven?
So in marketing, there's been research that says
yes,
a
marketing
potential
thing.
client has to see or hear about your brand 12 times before they can even remember who you are.
Uh-huh. Exactly. That's
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely true. And that's where that 7 no's comes in, because basically people also, when it comes into sales, they're programmed to say no. So you got to kind of get it out of them. And that's why it kind of is. And the thing is, most salespeople that do not succeed, it's because they don't go far enough. They didn't get past that 7 no's. They quit at 2 or 3, And really, the people that are going to be your best clients that do business with you are the ones that are going to follow that rule. It's not the ones that say yes to you right away. It's the people that give you the hardest time are usually end up your best clients.
Just in plain terms, the people who play hard to get.
Oh yeah, totally. But it's not about the playing hard to get. It's more about the fact that it's their own protection because they know they're easily sold. The people that are the biggest hard at you, they're the ones that are easiest to be sold, and they know it. So they put up this defense mechanism. Whereas the other people, they are just stroking you. That's the word we call in sales, stroking, because they're telling you everything you want to hear, and they're full of crap. They're doing whatever they have to get you off the phone or out of their business or however you met with them, And so the easiest way to get rid of a salesperson, by the way, and the reason they do that is to say yes. Did you know that? That's the easiest way to get rid of a salesperson, because they basically, if you just say yes, they don't try to overcome the objection. Then they say, call me back in a week, and then you can never reach them again. Like, it gets them off the phone. They know if they say no to you, you're going to keep them on the phone. So the thing is, the same is true in relationships. How many times do people have romantic relationships and the guy didn't get the date the first time he asked, or the female didn't get the guy the first time she flirted with him? Does that happen to you? Let's go.
Which one? I
Whoever
mean, yeah,
wants to
sure.
answer, but
Sure.
we'll start with
Yeah.
Studio Nut. We'll start with Studio Nut, okay?
No,
Have you
that
ever
hasn't
done
happened to
that
me.
to somebody else, not on purpose, though?
No.
So you've
Like
never
on my end,
asked a girl-
I'm always
first
very
of all,
straightforward. Like,
Right.
I'm always very straightforward. If the answer is yes, it's yes. If it's no, it's no. Like, I don't
It's
do the
not
whole
even a matter of
dance.
that. It's not a matter of a game. It's just a matter of, if it's too easy, it's not necessarily real. Like, even my brother's mother, her third marriage was her best marriage of all, and that was like her soulmate. And she tells me the stories, like, it took a few years before she felt that way. Like, at first she didn't even like the dude at all. Like, and that I found that in my life, like, the women that I date that are the ones that were the easiest to ask out are the ones that are not the right one, not because they were easiest, because they weren't being real right from the get-go. They were like just saying yes to placate you, because a lot of times people do that. They don't want to hurt other human beings, so they say yes instead. And that's what they do in sales. That's how those people that stroke you justify it, because if you call them out on it, they're like, well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Because, like, I'll do that.
Yeah.
They'll say to me on the phone, well, call me back next Wednesday. I'm like, listen, I'm the type that'll say that no other salesperson will say, and I'll say, that's not going to happen. You know that you're just saying this to me to get rid of me. And it's actually a good strategy, to be honest, because it works. Because then they're like, oh, and then they actually do open up and listen a little bit. But they say, yeah, you're right. And it's no different than, listen, if you ask somebody out and they say maybe, that means no. They just don't want to hurt your feelings. Now, that doesn't mean it wouldn't change later. So that's the point I'm getting at. Not everybody you meet do you have that with right from the get-go. Sometimes it just, you get to know the person, you grow on each other, or what have you.
Or in each other.
Yeah, well, that's for Wednesdays, okay, not
Oh,
Monday.
sorry.
Well, it could be motivation, you know? It could be someone's motivation
What is their motivation? To get
to
eaten?
grow. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that your motivation?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
but it could be
So,
someone's
so has this
motivation.
happened to you, or have you, on the other hand, you know, been the deliverer of that?
Deliver of bad, well, of saying no. Yeah, I am, you know, a chronic people pleaser, so I have been in situations where I have said yes, you know, or maybe to kind of placate to someone and not hurt someone's feelings, but I've definitely got you know, I'm growing out of that, learning and growing because it's not really that beneficial, you know, for any party. But sometimes, you know, especially when it comes to dating, I think if you know right away, you're gonna just be honest. Even you said no, like still keeps coming back. I guess that's human nature. 'Cause it's like, no,
So,
I really meant no. So there's no more chance.
so let
Yeah.
me
If I'm
ask.
interested, yes. No,
So let me
no.
ask you a question. So when it's been done to you, let's take the one part. If they say yes
Yeah.
to you,
Okay.
then how does it make you feel when it turns out to be no, and they were just not wanting to hurt your feelings?
Yeah, that sucks. I'd always be like, I'd always think I'd rather have just been on like no from the start. So I can,
Yeah.
you know, from the other side, then it's, I like to, you know, be like that. If it were me, want honesty.
So the
Yeah.
way that I look at it is more like, yes, you're hurting their feelings, but think of how much more you would hurt them if you
Totally.
Yeah.
let them
Yeah.
believe something that is not true or something
It's
that is
gonna
never
work.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
I
So I
think
would rather come off as an asshole than to actually be an asshole.
Yeah.
well, what you find out is you are being, like you said, you're not really being an asshole. It's just they're perceiving you as an asshole because they're not getting what they want.
Yeah.
But
They're going to be
really, the
upset
Right.
Either way, you know?
yeah,
There's no
the
Yeah.
winning
other
in
way is
that. Yeah.
much worse
Yeah.
than you're,
Yeah.
but so people aren't doing it because they're trying to be mean, but really they are. And I think that's something that people have to know, that you're not really being nice. I've told that to people before. Like, that's not being nice. You're leading somebody on. That's not being nice. And
But
sometimes
sometimes, you know, you got to like you said before, things can grow on you and maybe you're just
they
not
can
sure. So
change.
is it, you know, like you, so at first maybe it's a maybe or a yes because I'm curious, you know? I think that
No,
there's like
but see, yes shouldn't
open
be for curious. Maybe should
no?
be for curious.
Okay.
Yes
Well,
means you're into it. Being curious means you're not really sure if you're into it. You'll see. And that's what you should say to somebody,
mhm.
whether it's in
Yeah, that's a
business,
good answer.
personal,
Yeah.
or, you know, like
Yep.
in business, nothing pisses me off more than people that say yes to me that have no intention of doing business with me. That's
Yeah.
worse than getting rejected. Way worse. Because you waste my time. You get somebody's hopes up. You know, there's even people out there in the business world, sales world, that they change their life based on those answers. Like, I'm the type of
Yeah.
person, like,
Mhm.
I don't believe a deal's a deal until I spent the commission check. That's kind of my like motto. Meaning, somebody that's gonna stroke me and I get off the phone with them and I'm like, oh, that's a deal. And I go out and I buy something because salespeople do that. They make a commission, they go out and buy something. And then when you call them back, you can't get a hold of them and stuff like that because it really wasn't a yes. And they're very convincing. The people that do that are very, very convincing. You know, I always try to force the no out of those people. Like, I love when people give me a lot of resistance on a sales call because it means they are interested. It just means you haven't told them anything yet that makes them want to say yes, but they are interested and they're waiting for you to give them some ammunition. Opposed to the other person, oh yeah, that's the greatest thing. And like, oh yeah, like I can't tell you how many times when I've told people my normal rate, oh, they say, oh, that's nothing. They're always the ones that don't have money, any of it. I found that in the financial business. All the people that talk like they have a lot of money have zero. All the people that have a lot of money don't say anything. So it's the same thing there. Okay. I used to have people I call up and I'm like, you know, you need a minimum of $100,000 for this investment. Oh yeah, it's no big deal. Yeah, and I would get people to say like that. Those were the people that just never had the money, and I would eventually just say to them, I'm like, just be straight with me and just tell me you don't have the money instead of telling me what you think I want to hear. Yeah, well, I blah 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 blah. And that's what happens. They'll give you these reasons that they think it's justified, you know. So I think one of the things about succeeding in business and life is having proper communication. And to me, proper communication means being very straightforward to where the other person doesn't have to assume, figure out, or understand. They just do understand because you're being so clear about it. And we do speak different languages, whether we're from different places, have different ethnicities, different genders, you know, because our minds work differently. So I think that's one of the things in an owner's manual is
You could be from the same place, exactly the same place, and just different generations,
totally.
and you would still think differently.
Exactly. So you can't ever assume or you can't ever leave anything gray in communication, because that's when you'll get the gray or the withholding information. Like I'm going to say right now, and I'm not saying it out of any negativity, more of an example of what we're talking about. You know, when I got divorced from Thing One, she says to me, I really hope you find what you're looking for because you're like the most romantic person I ever met. I'm just not into that. Okay, well, you were into it the last 12 years or you faked it. And if you faked it, you're stupid. You know, and that's really what it comes down to is, no, that isn't who she's about. And that's okay. Everybody's about different things. Just because somebody's different from you doesn't make them wrong. And that's the problem with society right now. Okay? Everybody has different variables, whether it be where they grew up, where they're from, where they've been, what their education is, what their jobs have been, who their friends have been, who their family has been. There's so many variables that make people believe what they believe. So maybe
True.
Find out why people think the way they do instead of attacking them like we do today and calling them names because they're different than you. I don't want the whole world to be just like me. Okay? That would be kind of boring. I think we should be different, you know? And the fact is we should think differently because that's how we learn from each other. This whole thing of only listening to one news station and only having certain people, like, I talk to people I know and I'm like, and they'll say something like, I only want people that believe what I do on my feed. And I will only be friends with people that think exactly like I do. It was never like that in the world. And to me, that's dumb. How do you grow? How do you learn things? How do you even learn to your own thing? Like, to me, talking to somebody that has an opposite viewpoint of me will either teach me that my viewpoint may be wrong or may need changing, but it also might also confirm my viewpoint to me, you know? And so the whole idea of just being around people that think just like you do, act like just like you do, you know, it's one thing if there's somebody that would be very hateful towards you. But personally, I don't give a crap who somebody voted for. I more care about how they are as a person and why they voted that way, as an example. Because maybe they have their reasons. I know people in 2016 that voted for Trump that didn't like Trump and certainly were not Republicans, but they voted for Trump because they were in an industry that if Hillary was elected would have dropped their income down to a third. So yeah, if you have a family that you have to take care of, you might vote in a way that's going to feed your family. And that doesn't make you a jerk off. It makes you somebody taking care of your family. And maybe you should have the time to sit down and have a conversation with these people to find that out, to maybe understand, because you're just assuming it's their values. Because that's what everybody assumes every day. Your values are who you vote for. It's not always the case. And
Yeah, there's a lot more like tangible pieces that go into what people do things for.
no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
most of these people that vote, they don't really know the person or their values or any of that. They just think they do,
Mhm.
but they're voting for other reasons,
Yeah, and there's only like so many to choose from, like that's
well,
really
exactly.
tough decisions. Yeah.
But I think my lesson is like the world's gone mad to where we're so mean to each other. And like I saw something I shared on my Facebook the other day that talked about my generation and when we were younger. Okay. So you could vote for Carter, I could vote for Reagan. And after the election's over, we aren't attacking each other anymore. We're not fighting or arguing with each other anymore. And we're just united. That's the way it used to be. If you look back to
I
when
remember
Reagan,
like times like that. Everything got very divided over the last few years.
oh yeah, it's part of the plan.
Yeah, of course.
That's how they get everything.
Because yeah.
To me, all the politicians, left, right, sideways, upside down, I don't care. They're all on the same team, and it ain't mine.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yep.
Exactly. I know.
And I want to know who
Let's
decided.
just
And
all
this has,
band together.
well, I don't know who decided this, and it has nothing to do specifically with any president now, just in general. Years ago, everybody used to say, oh, we should have a businessman as president. And I said no then, and I say no now, because a businessman's primary motive is profit and benefits. So there's no way they could be the president of the United States of America and not consider how they could benefit from that. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that's why they shouldn't be president. It should truly be a public servant, somebody that has nothing to gain by it except to work for the country. And is there anybody like that out there? Probably not, but a business person's the least likely person, and not because they're a bad person. It's because that's what you're trained in your career. That's how you run something. And that's why people want businessmen to run the country, because they think the country is a business. It's not a business. If you went to college, you would find out that government and business are run completely differently. And if you ran a government like a business, it would not be good. And
well, yeah, because then there's room for you can pay someone off and stuff like that.
I mean, come on.
Money talks.
Now, could you have businessmen as advisors?
Yes, but it's what their motive is. So their motive is always going to be profit and benefits, period. So if let's put it this way. If they're going to give you advice, are they going to give you advice that's going to affect their business positively or negatively? They're not going to do it just totally.
It depends on the individual.
No, I don't think so. It's not going to be selfless.
Mhm.
Why are they going to give a selfless advice that could possibly ruin their company? Think about it. It's their way of feeding their family. Okay? So, if you were giving advice to the Prime Minister of Canada, and that advice would cause you to no longer be a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine, would you necessarily give that advice?
No, but if someone came to me and with something and I felt someone was better suited for it, I would share, refer, at the end of the day, I want what's best for everybody. So sometimes I'll sacrifice the business for if I, if I think it could be better for them. Sure.
Well, but what kind of sacrifice? So, like sacrificing
Oh,
in
like
some way, but
you
if you're
send someone
sacrificing your
somewhere
whole
else.
career,
Not whole
what if?
career.
Yeah, that's
If
my
it was a
point.
whole career move, then yeah, no, for sure I'd be like, motive. But on a smaller scale, like in the day to day, there are times where you'll be selfless like that. I think that's
And
also good practice and makes you like trustworthy.
selfless is good. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's not, but there's certain areas people are selfless and there's certain they're not because they can't afford to be. Can you afford to lose your whole career right now and start completely over right this second? Probably
It'd
not.
be tough. It'd be tough.
Yeah. And probably you would weigh that the benefit of your advice would not be worth that risk. And
Right.
now take it a step further. Okay. You take somebody that think about it. Here's a perfect example. Not that it's happening, but Tesla was not doing very well at all before this election. Still not doing great. But it's amazing how all these people that were Tesla haters are now all of a sudden the ones that think they're the greatest thing since crushed ice. And guess what? Those are the people that have the money to buy the more expensive ones. All my liberal friends buy the cheapest Tesla there is, and all of my conservative friends drive that ugly, cynical thing that is like super expensive.
Cybertruck?
Yeah. It's the ugliest thing ever. And I can tell you, I see them everywhere now.
Everywhere.
And I can
saw one the
assure
other day
you
here
it's not
too.
liberals buying those. I can assure you that.
Yeah. It was an Asian lady driving this one. I saw.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So the point
I don't
is,
know what
okay, and it doesn't mean somebody's not doing for the better good, but they're going to do for the better good and benefit themselves at the same time. Whereas if you take a true public servant, it doesn't affect their livelihood or their career. Usually people that do public service, their career has nothing to do with that public service. It's, the ones that are truly doing public service. I'm not talking about people that go into politics, because most people, by the way, go into politics for exactly those reasons. More money, more benefits to their business or their own life. And if they can help some people along the way, great.
Yeah, but that's more so like the part of the business that is like, okay, this is gonna make me feel good about my decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's like balance it out.
Yeah, totally. So, but I think, again, we all need to communicate and communicate properly.
Assertive communication makes a difference.
And I think you're absolutely correct. And I think instead of being negative, instead of attacking, instead of name calling, what are you accomplishing? I want to know what these people are accomplishing out there in the world that are being just total jerk-offs. I mean, what are they really accomplishing? It's not helping their business. It's not helping their personal life. They're angry all the time, so it's not helping their mental health. Okay? So I have this philosophy that's in this book here. Who said life doesn't come with an owner's manual? And of course, in my slow internet, I don't know when it's showing it or not.
It's showing.
Thank you, Juan.
Yeah, there's lots of oceans.
Thank you, Juan. And so basically, one of my things is think as if and act as if. And it is think as if you're already where you want to be, and then act as if you're already where you want to be. And the reason for that is because it's a GPS. So if you would like to be, let's say you wanted to climb Mount Everest, And that's a goal of yours. Well, you have no clue how to do that. You have no clue what it's about. So you could just go try like that and probably would not succeed. But when you think as if or act as if, like it's a step up from the fake it till you make it thing. And the fake it till you make it does work under certain circumstances, but there's more to it than just faking it till you make it. It's actually believing. It's not faking it. Like if you already believe you're successful, your brain will give you the roadmap of how to get there. But if you already think that you're going to be a failure, your brain will give you that too. And the perfect way, it's funny. I was just watching some surf videos of this one and this guy teaching how to be better at riding the face and doing pop-ups. And one of the examples he gave was a similar thing as what I'm doing right now. He did a visual in the video of riding a bike. If you ride a bike and you look at the pedals while you're riding the bike, guess what's going to happen? You probably run into a tree or something. And that's what happened. He ran into a tree. And in surfing, it's very much like that. The surfboard goes wherever you look. You go wherever you look. It's so slight that most people don't notice it. But even when you're walking, have you ever noticed when you're looking towards the left that you start walking that way, even if it's just a little bit? You're no longer walking straight. It's always like that. It's like that. And so it's like that with surfing. You look where you want to go. If you look down, you're going to wipe out. They say it all the time. If you look down at your board or your feet, you're going to wipe out. Look where you want to go. And it's amazing because when you do look where you want to go, that's exactly where the surfboard goes. Well, that's the whole concept of to think as if, and even more so act as if. Because then you are always looking at where you want to go in life. You're not looking behind you. You're not looking to the side of you. You're looking at where you want to go. And ergo, it's much easier to get there. And if you have the roadmap to get somewhere, it's also much easier to get there. Our brain works as if it always wants to be right. So whatever you tell your brain, it's going to be right. So all these people that are angry, attacking, they're right, but they're making it right. But what if they change their attitude? What if they change their thought process? And most importantly, what if they didn't give a crap so much about what other people do that doesn't affect their life in any way, shape, or form? Like that blows my mind how much time that they spend on that kind of stuff. The stuff that is negative to their life, that has no impact on their life.
Like I think we have, I don't know how many actual fresh new ideas come in per day, but usually everything's just on, hamster wheel. Repeat thoughts, repeat beliefs, repeat experiences. Like, we're all just operating off of ways we have in the past. It's just what we do, what we know. It takes effort to shift.
Just replace.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be great if we could have the mind, what do they call that? Mind flare or something that wipes your memory.
Right.
Please be kind and rewind.
Please look. Yeah. Please look at the light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
sometimes I wish I could do that, or what's that movie?
Men in Black.
Eternal Sunshine for a Spotless Mind or something, where the guy wipes his memory.
Only Canadians would come up with a name for a movie that's that long.
Yeah, it's like a dark.
I don't even remember the name. You just said it 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, I know, it's etched in my memory now. Yeah, I think they did some kind of mind tricks in there.
So one thing
messaging.
Oh, of course they do. Everything does. Okay.
Yeah.
So
oh boy,
one of the serial killers. I'm trying to remember which one. They actually did that. They were showing a video in the courtroom and they put in subliminal messages that they knew would make the defendant react.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that's how they got their guilty verdict, because he lost his crap, and
Wow.
and the truth came out right in the courtroom.
Whoa, crazy.
So
Clever.
here's the thing too. You know, they have that movie Scrooge where you go to Christmas Pass or whatever. I've had that experience. I think everybody should have that experience somehow, and you can create that experience for yourself. This book, as a perfect example, was published in 2003, and there's stuff I read recently that I'm like, wow, what insight, not of the book, and I'll share it with you, but like, okay, here's a beautiful thing. Like in the beginning of the book, I put my oldest daughter, she was a poet when she was a kid, and I put one of her poems in here, and here you go with perception, because I love this poem. And she's like, Dad, why did you put that in there as like one of my worst poems? And it is from when she was in first grade. She wrote this in first grade. And it's called I Dream I Can Fly. I dream I can fly like the graceful birds. I can't read with these sunglasses on. I dream I can fly like the graceful birds in the sky. I lie at night in my bed thinking about the sweet dreams in my head. Through the night, I dream I see a light from the view up above. Oh, how I would love for the fresh wind to pull me up. Oh, how I would dream to fly. But until then, I will try. Goodbye, goodbye. Until I can visit you from up above, I will lie. So, you know what I get out of that first grade? Is why we should leave the kids the frick alone. Okay, like we talk about kids, you know, and their energy, and we get all riled up about their energy, and then we also say, I wish I had that energy, you know, and they have that energy, and we're like, we have to discipline them or medicate them or whatever so that they act like an adult. They're not adults, they're kids, they're innocent, and maybe you should listen to some of their thoughts, is my viewpoint. Because right there, what that tells me is she had dreams, and she realizes maybe I'll get those dreams, maybe I won't, but I'm certainly going to try to get those dreams. And that's something everybody should learn from. And so, you know, there is some funny stuff, okay? So let's do a little of that. I'm going to read something to you, and I want to hear what both of you think from that. I have to find it, though. It's in the dedications.
Yeah, but that was deep, though, because
I know, right?
In first grade, I was fighting other kids for marbles. Like, literally, a kid was trying to steal my marbles, and so I had to fight him.
Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty insightful.
Yeah, you're probably about 7 or so, right?
Yeah, 6.
6.
Yeah.
So how? I guess you would know from that she was the daughter of a motivational speaker. Pipeman didn't even exist then, by the way. Pipeman became this anomaly.
Yeah, what's the origin story next time on Motivational Monday?
Yeah, I've told the origin story a few times. Okay, I'm going to take the sunglasses off again. Okay, I'm going to read this dedication, and you tell me who you think it's from and what you could read into it. I want to see, this is about proper communication too, because, you know, proper communication means the other person interprets it exactly the way you're meaning it, or they can read into it and know what you're meaning. So this one says, Dean has been more than a great husband and father to his 4 children, our 4 children, I'll say, or I was going to change it, but I won't change it. He has been a true inspiration and role model. I have seen the transformation in so many lives that he has touched. He is truly passionate about helping others, whether it is in his professional life or home life. He is always eager to lend a hand with a smile. Well, you already know who that is. Okay. So now what do you read into that? Because I know exactly what that says. We'll let Studio Nut go first. Let's hear the male side.
I wasn't paying attention. What was it? No, I don't know. It's knowing how that ended. I think it's hard to say, but maybe it wasn't truthful.
No, but you're getting close. Okay. Health Nut.
Well, I think there's a lot behind that, right?
I don't think there's a lot behind it. I think it. I'll tell you.
Or just like behind your like. Oh yeah, sure. If you want to just tell.
No, I'll tell. I want to hear your end first. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because we don't know like the whole history. Well, I don't know how.
I don't think you have to know the history, do you?
You don't have to.
See, that's
no, but I mean that's like an appreciative. Sometimes when we actually stop and reflect on like the difference someone makes in our lives, some. Like,
You're so Canadian.
It
just proved how Canadian.
That was like the nicest perspective you could have gotten.
I know that was so.
Yeah,
Canadian.
because sometimes you just now let me tell
you. Okay, so now let me tell you what I see in that. Okay, first of all, I got divorced in 2004. This was 2003. Well, published in 2003, written close to that. Okay, that was somebody that was telling the truth. No, I do think telling the truth about me as a person with zero emotion and zero vested interest. It was just a very matter of fact, with
like almost generic, not generic, but
totally generic, but
like hallmarky.
Yeah, well, not even hallmarky, more of this is really what I think of him as a person, especially as it pertains to being an author of a book. But there was nothing that said there, this is the love of my life or soulmate or whatever, or this is even my husband. Like, except for the fact that she said it, it really didn't, like, that's not how you would talk about your husband when writing a dedication. Is kind of the way I look at it. Very non-emotional, matter of fact, no feeling. And I'm not even saying it in a bad way. It just proves we shouldn't have been together because that was her all along. That was her all along because as
maybe
women
she's not
love
good
to
at
say,
expressing.
No, I'll tell you what it is. Because they all listen, women love to use this term and men hate it because we don't like it at all, but it is kind of true when they say it. We love you, but we're not in love with you. And there is such a huge fundamental difference there.
Do women only say that, or
yeah, men don't usually say that to women.
No.
Really?
Men are like, I'm just not into you, or ghost you, or something. Men don't sit there and say to you, I love. That's like a cop out line. I told that to Thing too when I got married to her, and she's like, oh, that's just something women say. That's bullshit. And then she said it to me too.
So the way I see it, it's always a level down. So I love you, but I'm not in love with you means you're a nice guy, but you're not my type.
Exactly.
I care about you.
And your ex-wife.
You don't give me cues anymore.
Men don't say this. Ex-wives say it though. They're like, they'll even say to their kids, oh, I'll always love your father. And there'll always be a special place in my heart for him. And we just go, that is the biggest bullshit line.
You don't think that's true, though?
Right on the side of hatred.
I don't think it's not true. I think it doesn't make you feel better. I think it makes you feel worse. Okay?
Yeah.
It may be true. Okay? What it's saying is, you're just like everybody else in my life, is what it's really saying. Because everybody in their life, like, they love them to some degree, whether it's your friends or whatever. But Juan hit the nail on the head. So we almost have to end here, but I want to end it on a positive note. So we'll start with the youngest. Rachel, who was 7 at the time, okay? Not the poet that her older sister was, because she wrote one line. My dad respects me. He is very nice because he treats me great. That sounds so much like a 7-year-old, doesn't it? It's like, so that was about as
Yeah.
much as you would get out of a 7-year-old.
And you didn't even have to give her candy.
Oh, wait a minute. That wasn't the 7-year-old. That was Jessica. That was the 11-year-old. Okay. So again, preteen. Yep. That actually makes sense, because it's like at that point you're like, yeah, leave me alone, Dad. I'm hanging out with my girlfriends and like that kind of thing. Okay. So, oh no, that was Rachel. Okay. So here's Jessica. Okay. My dad is so helpful to everyone. He is successful in every way. He loves what he does, and everybody loves what he has done for them. So that's the 11-year-old. Then there's the poet who signed it, daughter and poet. Like Rachel signed daughter, Jessica signed daughter, Leah signed daughter and poet. Leah, 17. When I was young, you cared for me and always helped me through life. I remember watching movies and playing some kind of game. I have put you through a lot, but your love remains the same. She's still rhyming. I would lie down to bed and you would tuck me in. That is the way a real daddy is supposed to be. You would take me to the mall and buy me what I want. That wasn't such a smart move. You would carry me on your shoulders. You would always flaunt me. You put me in gymnastics. You would help me perfect a skill. Spending a day with Daddy was always my greatest thrill. I got a little older, made a mistake or two, but Daddy, I want to say I really love you. So she made that. Yeah. And then there was Derek. So we'll get the male. Derek, 18. For as long as I can remember, my dad has been a stand-up person. He is someone I can relate to and has been a good influence to me. My dad has been there for me through thick and thin to help me in all areas of my life. All of our experiences caused me to think the world of him. For these reasons, I am proud to call him Dad. Now, see, those top two, the two older ones, they tell you about the communication between males and females and how they communicate differently, and you could totally tell. If I didn't tell you who it was, you could totally tell one was a male and one was a female. I could tell, especially that age, so that's a lesson that we need to learn how other people communicate. We need to listen to people, not hear them. Listening is so much different than hearing. You can hear what people say, but listen to what they're really trying to say to you. And on that note, we got to go because we are so out of time. So go to Amazon, look up Who Said Life Doesn't Come with an Owner's Manual by Dean K. Piper. You could get it in hardcover, paperback, ebook. I was just trying to say hard book, and I was trying to say hard and ebook at the same time.
Hardy book. It's a Hardy book.
It's like the Hardy Boys. I used to read the Hardy Boys. Nancy Drew.
All right. Well, I'm going to run right there. Get your book. Okay.
Do it. Well, we got to run because otherwise we're going to interrupt another show. So this has been another version of, I don't know if it's Motivational Monday or Manic Monday, or maybe it's Motivational Money Monday. I don't know, but it's the Adventures of Pipeman.
Magic Monday.
And I am right now at the NAB conference. And when I get back in a couple days, we're going to talk what happened there because there's so much cool stuff going on and so much happening and so much that's going to be great for this show and the station. So stay tuned. Tune in to the Adventures of Pipeman, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, here on W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. Roll it, Juan.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.